What if everything you've spent your life working toward disappeared tomorrow? Your title, your career, your plans.
Would there still be a life left to live? That's the question that stayed with me after reading A Gentleman in Moscow.
The novel tells the story of Count Alexander Rostov,
A Russian aristocrat who is sentenced to spend the rest of his life inside
Moscow's Metropole Hotel. One day, he is a member of the upper class. The next, he is stripped of his status,
moved from a luxurious suite to a tiny attic room,
and told he may never leave the hotel again.
It sounds like a tragedy.
And yet, it became one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. What stayed with me wasn't the plot. It was the Count himself, his composure, his curiosity,
his refusal to become bitter.
The Count treats life as something to be savored, even after losing almost everything. He dresses for dinner.
He pays attention to good food and good wine.
He values conversation. He reads. He observes. He develops friendships. He notices details.
He approaches ordinary moments with a kind of care that feels almost foreign today. In a world that keeps getting faster, the Count moves slowly. Today, we're constantly preparing for the future.
We're chasing promotions, building savings accounts,
planning trips, setting goals, optimizing our routines.
We're always becoming, rarely being.
And somewhere along the way, many of us forget that life is happening now.
Not when we get the promotion, not when we find the perfect relationship, not when we finally figure everything out.
Now, the Count understands this.
Despite being confined to a hotel,
he creates a rich life from what is available to him.
Not because his circumstances are ideal, but because he refuses to postpone living. At the same time, I don't think the lesson of the book is simply acceptance.
The Count doesn't surrender his dreams.
He doesn't stop imagining another future. He doesn't confuse acceptance with resignation.
He builds a meaningful life where he is, while remaining open to what could be.
And in the end, when the opportunity finally arrives, he chooses freedom.
I love that tension, because so many of us live at one extreme or the other.
Some people spend their lives waiting for the future and miss the present. Others convince themselves to settle and stop dreaming altogether. The Count does neither. He fully inhabits the
present while keeping a part of himself pointed toward possibility.
Maybe that's why this book has stayed with me for so many years.
Not because it offered answers, but because it asked a question that feels increasingly relevant. Can we build a meaningful life today, even if life doesn't look the way we planned? Can we appreciate what we have without giving up on what we hope for? Can we learn to live now without abandoning tomorrow?
If the life you've been waiting for never arrives exactly as planned,
would you still know how to live?